Congratulations on finishing your animation. I'm so excited for you. But I have a feeling that if you clicked on this video, your animation is stuck in Procreate and you don't know how to get it out. But you want to, then this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through how I export my animations in Procreate. This will work if you're trying to export your videos for social media, or you're just trying to get it for your portfolio, or you just want it to share with family and friends. This is for you. This video is going to give you the confidence to pick which settings you need to export your animations. And the best part, there's not going to be any technical headaches, no guesswork. This is the video. Really quick, if you're just starting to learn animation, but you're not sure which skills you should be developing because there's so many out there, I created a guide and a checklist to help you. So if you want to check it out in the link below. But let me get back to it because you're watching this video to find out how to export your animations. Let's jump into one of my projects. If you're new to exporting your animations in Procreate, or you're just new to exporting in Procreate, here's a really simple way that you can export your animations. Let's start at the very beginning. Where do you go to export your animation? You're going to go up to the top, and you're going to click on the little wrench icon, which is your action. You're going to want to click share, and then you have share image. You can ignore that entire top section. You don't need it if you're exporting animations. And then if you look at your share layers, there's 6 options. So you've narrowed it down from 12 to 6, and we're going to narrow it down to just 3. You can cross off PDF, you can cross off animated MP4, you can cross off animated HEVC. I've never seen that format, by the way, in all of my years of animating as a motion graphics designer in school. I've never seen that format. So please, you can forget it exists unless it comes up in some obscure way. The 3 that really matter is animated GIF, PNG, and MP4. Those 3 are the most common formats that you will find. And you want to know a little secret? You can pick any of them. What really matters is if your file is set up for sharing, for exporting. And I'm going to walk you through what settings you should be on the lookout for, because if you don't have these settings right, your file could be too large and you won't be able to upload it to social media or send it through an email. It's not going to look like your best work, and you definitely deserve to show your best work because you've spent all this time, probably when you haven't had a lot of time, and you've put in the effort to make it, and you should show it off the best. I definitely go on tangents like this if you've seen my previous videos, but I truly believe that if you've worked hard on it, you deserve to show it off the best that you can. And by the way, if after I show you the settings that you're supposed to have for your file and they're not the ones that is on your file currently or on your canvas, there is ways to switch it, which is something I'm going to get into, and there's other creative workarounds which I will show you what settings you should have to make sure that your file is set up for sharing. Let's start with the settings that matter the most, and this is just going to depend on where you're planning on sharing it. If you're planning on sharing it on social media or email or on your website, one of the most important settings that you can think of before and should double check before you are exporting your video is going to be canvas size. And just to give you some shapes instead of just numbers, because numbers can be very confusing, especially if you're very creative and less logistical. 1-to-1 ratio means that you're going to have a square. And if you're doing a 16:9, it's going to be a rectangle. If you're picking the 1-to-1, the square, that's going to be shown up on Instagram as a post. 16:9, the rectangle, that's going to show up on Reels and TikTok, and it's going to be the long way, the rectangle like that. But if you were to turn that rectangle so that it's this way, then that is the kind of format the kind of size that you're going to be sending through an email, or you're going to be putting up on long form YouTube, like a video like this. And that's usually where you'll see the 16:9, the long rectangle. And now I'm going to talk about the second most important setting that you are going to want to check that your canvas is set up for before you share your animations. And this setting is DPI, dots per inch. And if you've done print work before, you'll know that the DPI is 300. But when you're sharing an animation, which is viewed on the screen, your resolution is never going to be higher than 72. 72 is the standard. I'm going to show you how to change it in your canvas so that you can share your animation without this being the one thing that tips everything and makes it impossible for you to get a good viewing. So let me show you on my tablet how you can double check your size and your resolution. Go over to settings, then we're going to go down to canvas, to crop and resize. It's the top. So now that crop and resize has popped up on your screen if you're following along with me. Otherwise, feel free to come back. I'm making this video so that you can refer back to it as many times as you need And I'm putting timestamps in, side below wherever it is that appears on YouTube. So this way you do not have to worry about trying to remember everything off the top of your head. This video is made so you can come back to it whenever you need. Remember, no guesswork, no tech headaches. Just follow along and it'll work. So crop and resize, you go to your settings, and you're at the very top, you're going to see that I have it by 1080 by 1080. That's my size. And it's that 1:1 ratio. But if you needed to change it to a 16:9, I'm going to first off make sure that is unclicked, because if it's blue, that means that it's going to, whatever happens in one box is going to be reflected in the other box, keeping it the same. But if I unclick it, or click it and turn off the blue, you're going to be able to change it. So 1920 by 1080 is that typical 16:9 ratio. So I'm going to say done, and it's going to change. You'll notice it's pretty much added the entire thing. I do have to give you a warning about changing your canvas size though. If you change it and you do not have resample canvas selected, and you change your size from, let's say, a 3600, and you change it down to 1080, some of that image is going to get cropped. And that means that the animation that you worked so hard on, some of it is going to get cut out. You don't want that to happen. The second warning that I want to give you when you're trying to change your canvas size because you realize that it's not the right ratio, if you're changing the ratio from anything that wasn't that 1:1 or that 16:9 that I mentioned earlier, your canvas is going to squash or stretch when you put in the numbers up top there. The best workaround that I've found in that case is that you're going to want to manually do it as close as possible. So you'll grab the bottom here, for instance, drag it up, and then you get it to, like, let's say 1081, and your other side is 1080. And then you'll manually input the 1080 on the other side. It'll crop it so that it's not going to hurt your animation too much. A lot of this is easier if you can figure it out from the start, but if you're very new to this, it's not like you've ever done it before, and there are plenty of workarounds that you can still export your animation without having to backtrack and start over from the start, because you don't have time for that and you don't want to, which is completely understandable. The good news is that second very important setting that I was telling you about, the resolution, it's a lot easier to fix than trying to change your canvas size. And if you go back into settings, you'll see the DPI is right under canvas size. You're just going to want to double check that it says 72. And if it doesn't, then it says 300, for instance, then you're just going to want to tap it and change it to 72. And that's it. Now the most exciting part. Now that you have double checked that your settings are correct, that it's not going to mess up your animation, that is going to give you a beautiful piece to share, you're going to go to Actions, not Canvas, you're going to go to Share, and you are going to pick whichever one of those three formats that we talked about at the very beginning of the video. In my case, I usually like to do the MP4, but I do want to show you something special about PNG, so I'm going to pick that one today. And that's my little animation. I actually never played it for you. Oh, sorry about that, but hopefully you're getting a little laugh at it. On my screen over here, you can see that I have max resolution and web ready. The reason why these two exist is because max resolution is pretty much your file looking the best it possibly can be, which is very, very good. But web ready is something that is very, very important. One of the good things about web ready is that usually it's condensing the file size down so that you'll have faster upload speeds, or you can send it across an email. I think 2.6 megabytes might still be too big for an email if you're trying to share your animation with family and friends, but it's going to work very well if it has to go up on a website, for instance. Social media, it's also going to matter if you're trying to share it there, because they'll also have file size limits. Moving on, the reason why that I picked animated PNG, I told you there was something special about it. It's this transparent background. If you've done some sort of animation where you don't want the background to appear, you just click that button and now it's not there. I'm going to export this now so you can see how it all comes together. I'm actually going to upload this onto my Instagram so that you can see the full process. Remember, we've gone from exporting it to actually uploading it. I want you to see that it's possible to take your animation from Procreate and get it out there and share it with those you really care about, or that you just want to share off your work because, hey, you animated something. It's exciting. All right, let's export. And I'm going to pick up my drive. There it is on Instagram. I really hope this video was hopefully making it easier for you to export your animations. And if you're curious which skills you should be learning to make your animations even better, I have a free guide in the description below